Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. It
Wednesday.
is May 3rd, the day before May 4th, which actually happens to be a national holiday for half of our team who already have their outfits set out for May the 4th. But today, here we are.
They got
They do.
They're like, so someone's gonna be a Wookiee. Like, I can't talk
I've never
today,
seen
I'm sorry.
someone come in dressed as a Wookiee on May 4th, but that may change. But we are here live at Digital Dealer in beautiful Tampa, Florida. It's the last day, and we've been here for a couple days now, and just watching all the comings and goings of the auto industry.
Best thing about Digital Dealer in Tampa, Florida,
I'm waiting
is
for
that
it.
it's in Tampa, Florida.
That's amazing.
It's just gorgeous. It's been beautiful weather, but no, the conversations, the people, the energy, the type of just the hugs that you get to have around people that you know, and then even just the people that we've met, people that I never have known existed in the auto industry that are great people.
Several of those yesterday.
That love people. That you get into a conversation, and you're like,
you're doing
okay,
what?
we can sit down and do. You're doing, and that's what I get. I get so much out of that in our industry, just learning like these new, unique ways that people are serving in their communities, and the stories. Like, we met someone that had terminal cancer and then moved into having its own car dealerships, right? And is still doing great. It's wild, the stories that we find in auto, and being on ground with people is the best way to find those stories.
You know, there was one dealer group. It's escaping me at the moment, but they're out of the greater Philadelphia area, New Jersey, and they actually built a product within their store to help people get finance, right? And that's not a super rare thing, but what they've done is actually created kind of a bank where they could report back to the credit bureaus, get people in a buy here, pay here kind of situation into a lease, and then report that positive credit. And they have these testimonials at their booth where, people are like, and I just got financed for a new car, from Kia Financial.
Amazing.
And that's improving lives, and that is something that's amazing. We had our premiere last night for
was
our More Than Cars TV show. And to give you, if you haven't seen it, we filmed a pilot episode of a TV show called More Than Cars because, let's face it, when you say car dealership to the general public, there's a little bit of a step back, a little wincing, and we need to rewrite that script because we know the truth of the industry. So we went around to 3 dealerships and harnessed a little comedians in cars getting coffee, a little diners
drive-ins, a little docu-series on your favorite band,
little hip-hop music.
Little hip-hop.
We pulled it all together, and we were telling inspiring stories from real car dealerships, and we premiered that at the beautiful Tampa Theater last night. And watching people
personally, I walked in for the first time, and I was like,
I saw pictures, but it's nothing like the pictures.
That's a thing. Yeah, it was a really cool energy, and the people that got to see it and were there definitely understood what we're going after and what the idea of really, really shifting that cultural perception of the way that people see auto dealers, because humanizing the industry, putting the stories of real people doing really, really cool things is something that anybody can get attached to.
It was fun to watch whenever you make something and watch people consume it for the first time and seeing the audience laugh and clap. It all of a sudden actually almost made me cry a little bit because people got what we were trying to communicate, and they know the truth of the industry. We're going to be premiering it, doing a live stream premiere within the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. And if you check our social media accounts, you're going to see pictures from the event. You're going to see probably some little snippets. So we're excited to release that to you soon. But we should probably talk about a little bit of automotive.
Let's get into it.
A little bit.
We
of
don't have our
news.
Computers here, so if you're watching the live stream, we apologize.
Got
We're
the
pulling
phones
up
are
the
coming
old
out.
phone. This is old school.
I'm
We're
just
scrappy.
I'm just
Let's
checking
go.
Instagram actually. Let's talk about Ford's first quarter volume sales. So their profits were up to $1.8 billion in Q1.
Must be the money.
Yeah, right, trigger pad. But the biggest point is it's a major reversal because their loss a year earlier in Q1 was over $3 billion. So think of that. They went from negative $3 billion-ish to positive 1.8. And Jim Farley says, basically, we hope that all of our earnings report become predictably boring and incredibly ambitious.
Yeah.
It's not an exact quote, but it's really close.
That's pretty close. And I like the idea of that, just going, hey, the boring nature of this is positive nature, growth, all of that. The interesting thing is the majority of the profits came from their Ford Blue program.
Yep.
The next volume of profits came in under the commercial and fleet, which is a big deal because over the last couple years, commercial and fleet has suffered because those vehicles haven't been ready available because of prioritization of consumer vehicles with chip shortages. And then still, the EV game lost almost $800 million in Q1. So, which makes sense. They're seeing it as a startup. There's still like a lot of R&D, a lot of product market fit that they're trying to figure out where the market and whether or not the market's going to adopt it. But
Still trying to get plants online.
Right.
Yeah, you drove by.
I drove past the Ford in Kentucky. It's like a whole city. It's unbelievable.
You're driving past and you're like, it's still there.
It's still there. My wife is taking video. I'm driving. She's like,
oh, she took that video.
Do I keep going?
I was wondering. I was like, that's a great video. That's a great video. I was like, if Kyle shot that while he was driving, I was impressed. I didn't know that.
No, not at all. But yeah, no. So like when all of that stuff comes online, I see, if they've figured out the profitability in their other programs, I'm sure that there's going to be a way to figure out profitability there. There's been a lot of news over Ford, but when you got a profitable organization and dealers are a part of that matrix, hey, if everybody's getting along, keep everybody getting along.
Absolutely. It's a great way to go. Let's talk about a little bit of just tech news, because this got us all sideways.
This is going to affect actually a lot of dealers and industry partners, because a lot of people have moved over to a very secure platform, which is Microsoft, right? You're Microsoft for your email, you live in Outlook, you live in Teams for communication. And Microsoft has recently announced that they're going to be forcing the majority of links when you open them in Outlook or in Teams to open straight up in Edge, not adhering to the onboard computer system settings are to open in browser. So there's going to be this confusion. IT departments are all up in arms, because the only way to change it is to go to the local computer. You can't do it in business settings. So an IT admin login has to go to the local computer. Yeah, hundreds of emails and calls. So if you're on Teams this morning, like, heads up.
Yeah,
it's coming.
There's this element of just forcing people to do things because it's good. You think it's good for adoption of the platform, but how many people actually use a platform that they're forced to use? Right. Like, I think it's going to build resistance more than use. Now, granted, they'll get some people who don't care.
Yep.
Who are just going to be like, oh, I guess I'll make that my browser. They're going to get some of that. But in reality, whenever you're trying to force people through a lane that they don't want to walk in there, they have their preferences, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a blowback.
Yeah, I mean, we know that just in whether it's sales process or service process or anything that people are doing, the minute people feel forced to do something they weren't wanting to do, there's pushback, right? And so even in the tech space, it's very interesting. I mean, we've seen a lot of these moves, people trying to own the platform and own the experience and segment, where you can open things, or like GM going only Android Auto. And it's going to be an interesting kind of move over the next few years when people are trying to force people back into their silo of technology and not integrate, what the response is from the consumer public.
I think it opens up, I mean, we can get, we'll end on this, I guess, but I do think it opens up a world of liability.
Sure.
Because if there's a security flaw or something with that browser and they've forced people into it, it's like, so maybe if the Microsoft legal team hears this, right, the marketing team, they'll have a little conversation. They'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
What else we have going on today? So
Hey, we're recording stuff.
We are.
Follow
We're
us
on the floor.
Our socials on LinkedIn, Instagram. We'll share with you about exactly what's going on here at Digital Dealer. We're going to interview some people. Also, we'll be telling some stories about exactly what a soda is. So we'll be releasing that over the coming weeks here. And hey, we can't wait to see you in the next city. We're going to be traveling around all through the summer.
Yep.
And hey, if you didn't know, SodaCon tickets are still available for sale.
Oh, yeah.
It's ready to go.
Just
Hotels open, getting fired up. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate you being a part of this community. We'll see you in probably just a little bit.